This is Ion Sullivan. I am your host, Mike McGuire, joined today as we are each week by the chairman, Rob Doherty. Good morning, Rob.
Hey, how are we doing today, Michael?
We are outstanding. You're saying you had a good trip out to Pittsburgh to watch the Dolphins defeat the Steelers the other night?
That did not happen.
But that's what you went out there for.
I did not go out there. I went out there for exactly what I got. But I got a little extra out of the deal because I went with my oldest boy, John, who's a Dolphins fan.
Yes, he is.
And
another of his many redeeming qualities.
Him and my youngest boy are both Dolphin fans.
Bookends.
I have to tell you, it was the single greatest experience at a sporting event
As a spectator
in my life.
That's tremendous.
It was unbelievable. I went to the Packers game. With my son Matthew because he's a Packers fan. And then I went to the Dolphins game. But I have to tell you, the club's tickets, the hotel, you really learn a lot really fast. And it was just the greatest experience I've had.
So the key word in politics today is affordability.
Yeah.
That's where we're at. And President Trump last night gave a 18-minute speech on essentially
by the way,
where are we.
There was no affordability about that trip, by the way.
No affordability about the trip to Pittsburgh.
Yeah. When you decide on a Saturday to go for a Monday night game, it gets expensive fast.
It gets expensive.
But
in the country today, we're talking about affordability. The Democrats, of course, running this year in New York City particularly, on make everything more affordable. And President Trump gave a speech last night. And in that spirit, later this week, the legislature better vote on a budget. It's actually today. It's Thursday.
I mean, it's 3 hours away.
3 hours away.
Yeah.
So
it's number 11 on the agenda, on the full board agenda.
Okay. So that is the budget. So I know that you have your sources all over, and you keep a very close eye on the budget situation.
Yeah.
What's the status of affordability in Sullivan County?
Well, I mean, this legislature was left the framework, a budget, and the monies to move this county forward.
So you put it all in place.
Yeah, I put it all in place. And their first year, was a song. I mean, they did everything that you were supposed to do, but they were living off of my budget.
Well, they didn't have to do anything.
They didn't have to do anything. All they had to do was follow the playbook that was left for them.
It's rare. And going back to your experience in Pittsburgh, so it's 1st and 10 on your own 20-yard line.
Yeah.
All right? You rarely spike the football at that point. But this legislature spiked the football in January of 24 because they're working on your budget.
So that the first year, and by the way, most of the people that are now in office ran on transparency.
Right.
Okay, which they're not at all, and we can get into that more. Mm-hmm. They ran on affordable housing, which is not happening. Has not happened for the first 2 years. I had left $2 million in a fund, an assigned fund, to work on affordable housing. Okay, it was more of a skin in the game if RUPCO or any of those agencies came to us.
Well, the person that was the most vocal in that area was the person that's now affectionately known as Matty Niceegg.
Matty Niceegg, lied in his campaign speech and said that him and his wife could not find a place to rent or to buy, even though he had bought the property he now lives in his 3,000 square foot brand new home in 2022 and had put the plans in early 2023. He then put up a website for his campaign. You can look it up, Matt McPhillips. And he lied in that website saying that, there was no affordable housing.
But can you actually find what you're not looking for?
Well, they
couldn't find it.
Yeah,
they didn't say they were looking for it.
No, he rented a home in White Lake Homes, so he was legal in the jurisdiction.
Right.
And then he moved into his brand new home, I mean, that's what he did. He had no desire, he had no intention of buying a home in the town of Bethel. He built a home in the town of Bethel in the Highland section. Very nice section.
Very nice section.
The house probably cost $400,000 to build.
So, where is the legislature at now? They were supposed to vote last week and tabled the vote for the budget
this week. Yeah,
to this week. So it'll be in a couple of hours as we're recording this show. It's early in the morning on Thursday, so
Correct.
they'll be meeting at 9 o'clock. So it'll be a couple of hours.
So they're going to go through the executive committee, and then they'll do their little dog and pony show. Nadia will say, "Oh, I didn't know. I knew nothing about this. What's going on here? Blah blah blah." The whole routine that she always does.
Sergeant Schultz.
Yeah. And then I'm like, like you didn't know this was on your agenda that you're reading right now, and then
Well, the chairperson would probably be the one that would be most familiar with that.
in the executive committee, by the way.
Right.
So then whatever gets voted on there in a positive fashion then rolls over to the full board, right? And then I believe it's number 11 on the full board. Then they're going to vote on the budget.
So they didn't vote last week.
Correct.
And last week we spoke about there being a proposed 9.1% increase in the tax.
Even though Brian McPhillips said it should be 16%.
Well, that's because, as a Democrat, he is committed to affordability.
No, this legislature has proven 1,000% they are 1,000% in for tax and spend. They are tax and spend Democrats. That's who they are. That's who they're proven to be the first 2 years.
So,
oh, by the way, with nothing to show for it.
well, we're going to get into that. Now, so 9.1%, they tabled it.
Yeah.
So based on your sources, what adjustments, what amendments do we anticipate in about 45 minutes? Well, maybe about 2 hours.
So they are going to 2 hours and 14 minutes. So it's at 10:30. So they're going to, and I know what they did. So they're going to say it's not going to be a 9.1% tax increase.
Oh, well, okay. So they sharpen their pencils.
They did not. Okay. They're going to say it's a 4% tax increase.
Wow.
Well,
It's affordability.
that's affordability for you. But
It still exceeds the cap, by the way.
It still exceeds the cap. But what they don't tell you is that it's a financial sleight of hand. They're basically rearranging the deck chairs on the Titanic. Okay.
And playing a shell game.
Yeah. So lie by lie, brick by brick, they're building a financial cliff that the people of Sullivan are going to be pushed over in the next year or two.
Okay, so tell us about that.
Okay. So what they're doing is, so their levy, okay, what the county is going to collect in taxes.
Right. In other words, the tax levy is one way that the county receives revenue.
Correct.
And they get state aid. Some of it's unrestricted. Some of it's restricted, like the CHIPS money is for those in the town of Highland. CHIPS money is for roads.
Oh, okay.
Not for trucks to drive on the roads. It's for the roads.
Oh, it's not for employees' pay either, by the way.
No, it's not.
Okay.
No, but so that's a restricted fund. So
Correct.
people don't understand the way finance works. The state doesn't just send you, a tractor trailer shows up and they unload, Ed McAndrews guys unload a bucket of money.
No. So municipal finance is very difficult because there's restricted and unrestricted.
Right.
Okay. And then in the insider's term, it's called buckets, right?
Right.
So it's a bucket for this, bucket for this, bucket for this, right?
Right.
So you have money in this, you have money in this.
And even the opioid money came to us with the bucket concept as well.
Oh, the bucket concept. And there's multiple buckets inside.
Lots of buckets.
I mean, because, like I had negotiated, some of that money to go directly to the sheriff's department.
Right.
And then there was, and that was restricted money that went directly to him.
That was for law enforcement.
Correct. And then there's unrestricted money that he had access to also.
Correct.
Which really helped with the technology moving forward on the opioid crisis.
The drones and some of the cameras that are used here.
Correct.
quite successfully.
Correct, quite successfully. The funny thing is they never talk about it. The opioid crisis was at its height after the pandemic, and the steps that we put in place gradually has brought it down, but not where we need it to be, but it's gotten better.
It's gotten better. All right.
Correct.
So let's explain for the audience this 9.1% versus 4% sleight of hand. I mean, so last week they tabled the budget, and now they're coming back and going to tell people that there's a 4% increase. Now, the only way that could happen would be one of two ways. Either they went back and cut spending.
Correct.
Eliminated positions or whatever, because wages, let's face it, wages is the lion's share. There's not a lot of discretionary spending that you can cut.
Keep in mind, they have not settled one contract yet.
Well, that's all coming. Okay. That's all coming.
Okay. So they have not settled one contract yet. They have 8 contracts to settle in 2 years. I wish them the best of luck with that, okay?
Right. So they either went back and eliminated, and it would have to be positions, because you really can't, you can't, stop buying paper and pencils.
You just can't.
You can't. So it's either eliminate positions, or they realized that they had left out a revenue source, because nothing happened in the last week that would suggest a dramatic increase in revenue. So what happened?
So there's 2 things that you can do, right? You can either reduce your expenditures,
right,
or increase your revenue. Those are the 2 options.
Correct.
Okay. So did they lower the levy? They did not lower the levy. You're still getting taxed by dollar the same amount.
Okay.
Right? And I remember when I was a young man, and I'm a numbers guy, and I would say to my father, who was as plain and simple as they came, okay? I would say, on a percentage, this is. And he said, son, when you tell me when I can put a percentage in the bank, then I'll listen to you. Talk to me in hard dollars, because I don't care about percentages. Okay?
Your dad was a bottom line guy.
He didn't want to hear nothing about percentages. So you're still going to pay the same amount in taxes. I want to be clear on this. They did not lower the dollar amount you're going to pay. You're still paying more in tax, significantly more in taxes next year. Okay? What they did was raise their, I believe it's 4 revenue lines, okay? So they're going to numbers. They're saying that they're going to take in X amount of dollars in sales tax, okay? A number they've never taken in before, okay?
Wow.
Okay, they're very optimistic. They're saying that they're going to take in mortgage tax, more than they've ever taken in before.
So at a time when mortgage rates, and the feds may have lowered the prime, so they may come down. But at a time when mortgage rates also make new homes unaffordable, particularly for young people, we're budgeting more money in mortgage tax, which means more people are going to have larger mortgages than ever before.
Correct.
And that's based on Mark Baez? What's that based on? I mean, you got to be based on something.
I have no idea. Well, don't go by economic development, because Matty Neiseg, who's in charge of economic development, been in charge of that committee for 21 months, has only put up 14 resolutions, and 12 months has not put up a single resolution.
Yeah, but you got to give him credit.
You got to be giving him credit, because here's a guy whose household income's got to be $300,000. And he does nothing.
And before he took office, it was significantly less than that. So there has been economic development in Bethel.
In the Highlands, economic development has soared.
Right.
You are correct on that.
Right.
But anyway, so they then say, so they have these fly cars that cost millions of dollars. Okay?
That's the EMS.
Correct.
Right.
Which
we see them buzzing all over the place. It's like being in Manhattan. You hear the sirens all the time.
But they're doing exactly what the cops in Manhattan do.
Right.
It's a show of strength, it's called. So even though they're not on calls, they run those lights.
So that people think they're really
So
busy.
they're like, wow, they're busy.
Yeah.
Right? And the cops do that with, they'll have 5-6 cars in a row, and they'll be going somewhere, and they're actually going nowhere.
Lunch.
And they have the lights on, so people are like, well, there's cops in the neighborhood, and they feel safe.
Right.
And, that it's called a show of strength, okay? So they're saying that they're going to, basically double their billing. Okay, which leads me to a question. So they're saying that they're going to double their billing for the fly cars. Okay. So when they show up and they perform a procedure on you, blah, blah, blah. So you're telling me that you haven't been billing properly so far?
Yeah, or the health situation is so bad in the county that they're expecting, they're budgeting
Correct.
to double the amount of people that are going to need to make use of EMS. The only way that happens, that you can safely budget that, is to acknowledge that you've probably only been budgeting 60% of what you should have been budgeting.
You haven't been billing properly the whole time.
Or you're going to raise the cost so much to just get more revenue again on the backs of the people.
Correct.
One of those two things got to happen.
So I just want to be clear. So if they bill you, okay,
right,
and and they add 500. So let's say Medicaid or your insurance, goes over your deductible, and now you're responsible for $500 of that money.
Correct.
Right? Mm-hmm. Are they going after people's homes now? Is the county going to go after people's homes over unpaid medical bills? Is that what we're doing now?
Well, it's going to be very interesting to see. That was always a plan that you believed that the private sector, if we worked with them, and we had many meetings with the two larger professional EMS services, and I know there was those within the county that believed that the county needed to be in the EMS business. And I recall that your position always was the county needs to be in the roads and jails and safe street business.
Correct.
And not in almost any other business where the private sector can handle it.
Correct. So what they're doing, okay, one, I've seen several reports of calls for a month, okay? I remember, I believe it was last November. They had Highland at 4 calls for the month. Okay?
Well, it's probably not a lot going on in Highland.
So I called Tony LaRufa,
right,
a mutual friend of ours.
Who knows, is very involved in the EMS down there.
And I said, hey, Tony, is this true? You only had 4 calls last month? He said, what are you talking about? We had 4 calls on Saturday.
Yeah.
Right? So I don't know what calls they're judging. So then they said that Bethel had 16 calls for the month. So I went, I got Tony Carlucci and a couple other guys. I said, hey, 16? We do 16 in a day. We do so many mutual calls. It's crazy here. So are they fudging the numbers? I don't know the answer to the question.
Right.
But they don't seem to be matching up, okay?
And they seem to be off by a lot.
By a lot. So here's my question. So they're going to double the amount of revenue generated by their calls, right? Now, keep in mind, there's not an ambulance service, okay?
Right.
So my problem with paid people doing this.
Not an ambulance service yet.
Oh, yet. Wait till that $10 million boondoggle comes down the road, okay? And puts everyone out of business, okay? And the thing that they're killing the most, the greatest thing about being an American is volunteerism, okay? People feel the need to volunteer. Okay,
the 1,000 points of light.
Whether you sit on a school board, whether you work at a food pantry, whether you're a fireman, you just help out in your local community. People have this need to volunteer.
Right.
Okay, and you see it in the Jewish community. You see it in the Christian community. You're taught to give back.
To give back.
Right. You're taught to give back. Okay. The other day it was 1 degree outside.
Right.
Okay. So now you take that volunteer who's volunteering, right? He's an ambulance guy.
Yep.
Yeah, his pants rolled up on the floor.
Right.
You know how it goes, right?
Yeah.
And then, the call comes, he's up in the jiff, gets those pants on, gets those shoes, jacket on, out the door. Oh, let me go grab my hat. It's freezing cold out there. Right? You're out there. But now you have paid people doing it. You're like, why the hell am I getting out of bed?
Yeah, right.
Why am I getting out of bed?
Right, so you're changing the fabric of the community.
At a cost.
At a huge cost.
You cannot put a price tag on volunteerism.
No.
You cannot.
In terms of people becoming invested in their community.
Correct.
What could be better than volunteerism? Even we understand that they're paid, but legislators and many elected, they don't make enough to make it worthwhile to do the extra work on your tax return. It's really volunteerism. If you're being paid $6,000 to be on a village board someplace, trust me, folks, it's volunteerism.
It's volunteerism. Okay, they're stealing people's volunteerism. Okay, but it comes at a price. Okay, now people, if you have paid this, there has to be a delicate balance. Okay, and you go through whatever township. I mean, Bethel was ambulance was almost non-existent a couple of years ago.
Right.
And they've had a revival. And now they're dominant.
Tremendous.
You have Lumberland, you have Highland, you have the ones on the river, and you have, Coshecton. Mamakating.
You used to have Liberty, which was big, and they're gone.
Yeah. And so now Hatzola has stepped in and
yes,
into the bigger townships.
But Hatzola got professional people, but they're largely a volunteer organization.
Correct. They do what's called soft billing.
Right.
Like basically they send a bill. If you send it into your insurance carrier and they pay it, good. If you don't, that's fine too.
Then there's Hatzola Air. There's no billing.
There's no billing. And, it's a great organization.
Yep.
So basically they're raising revenues, expectations, okay, to heights that we've never achieved before, okay? Don't sit there and tell me that you're down $5 million on your sales tax revenue projection from last time, but then you take $5.5 million out of, the savings, okay, and then turn around and say, oh, we're still behind. How are you still behind? If it was the $5 million that you were behind and you took $5 million, you're even.
And now taking the $5 million from fund balance is a whole nother discussion of how does that bill get paid, because you can't take $5 million every year.
Well, your buddy Ken Walter said a meeting or two ago. So one of the things that we had done, coming out of the COVID crisis. Now, keep in mind, we paid on...
He did okay, by the way, selling a piece of property by the college.
Oh, he did very well. His family did very well.
Yeah.
Selling a piece of property.
In fact, I think he got the county involved in the negotiation to bounce the price. We were like the Yankees.
Yeah.
Get us in the free agent bidding war.
Yeah. He tried to play that game with us.
That didn't work with you.
That did not work with me.
You said, here's what we'll pay. See you later. Have a nice day.
And they sold it to someone else. God bless.
Right.
Okay? So one of the things we did was build up that fund because, as we discussed last week, when your state government and your federal government gets crippled, it takes a little while to get your money in. Okay. Sure. So we learned this lesson very hard in COVID. Okay.
Correct.
And Josh had been there for 2008, and he said, we had the same problem then, so we wanted to prevent that. So what did we do? We set up a fund to put 2 months of expenses into a fund balance.
That was a priority of yours.
Correct.
To avoid those high interest loans.
Correct. So why should I pay $1.15 for something when I could pay $1 for it?
And I question, how many elected officials get that deep in the weeds to even realize that, wait a minute, what do you mean we're taking out high interest loans? That's like way outside of what I remember sitting in school board meetings before I knew what a RAN or a TAN was, and they'd come in and they say, well, these interest rates, and people, okay, that's what the guys in the business office said we had to do. You were like, wait a minute, taking these high interest loans.
So we paid off $26 million worth of bonds ahead of schedule.
Early.
Okay? Ahead of schedule because I didn't want to pay the interest on them.
Correct.
Okay? So not only that, we were banking $18.5 million a year. These guys are bonding again. This is coming off of one budget. This is in 1 year that they have achieved this goal.
Right.
There's unbelievable financial disaster. And they're setting you up for a bigger disaster. They started bonding again. They are not paying off bonds early anymore. In fact, they're taking out bonds again. And they're not putting money in fund balance. They're taking money out of fund balance. How does this happen in 1 year?
Well, what's amazing is that they're blaming other forces. They're saying, well, it's not our fault. Sales tax revenue is down.
Okay.
Well, so then if that's the premise of the budget, it's very easy to say to Josh, well, we took in $50 million in sales tax. Make it $150 million. Make it $200 million.
Okay,
but you're never going to reach that goal.
So if you're number 3 source of revenue is fuel, gasoline, heating fuel, whatever.
Source of sales tax.
Correct. And that just got reduced by 35%. Okay? How are you ever going to hit the highest number you've ever achieved before? You just had your number 3 source.
Right.
So gas went from $3 and change,
right,
almost $4,
yep,
down to $3,
right,
now $2.85, right? I saw it this morning.
Except in Liberty, it's still $3.19.
Okay, so your number has come down significantly,
right,
on your third highest generator of sales tax, and you're telling me that you're going to hit the highest number ever?
Ever.
It's impossible.
But
it's impossible.
It's easy when you want to start off by playing a shell game. You can say whatever you want to say. If you're projecting a revenue increase, it needs to be a hypothesis based on something. What's going to happen next year?
It's based on Facebook because they don't want to take the heat for the Facebook.
Right.
But lie by lie. See, they all ran on transparency. They all said I wasn't transparent. By the way, anyone that knows me knows I was way too transparent because I put everything out there. Okay.
In fact, those that really know you would say that your downfall was your transparency.
Correct. I was way too transparent. I put everything out there.
Right.
We voted on everything out in public.
100%. Without ever discussing, even amongst your core 4, if you will, it was never discussed in the back. Never.
We had legislators sitting on the dais saying, no, we discussed this in the back.
Right.
I'm like, no, we don't.
Yeah.
First, second, let's go.
Discuss it all you want.
Correct.
There it is.
Correct, and they kept tabling stuff, because they didn't want to discuss it up front.
Right.
And that's why I'm not a politician.
Right.
Right. I'm a leader. There is a difference. So now they're sitting there, and they all ran on transparency. Right. I'm transparent. I'm the most transparent. But meanwhile, they're now lying to you. Right. Because the levy is.
Well, but the lies are transparent.
No. The lies are very transparent, by the way. The levy is the same.
Right.
Okay? You cannot sit there and say percentage-wise it's lower on the overall budget, but you're still going to pay the same. Your taxes still went up by this many hard dollars.
Right.
Okay? It still went up by X amount of dollars. Okay? That's like saying, people don't want to hear that their NICEAG bill with Maddie NICEAG over there went up by 62%.
Right.
They don't care what that means.
Doesn't mean. Can't put it in the bank.
Okay, they want to know that the bill went from $200 to $350. That's all they care about.
That's all that matters.
It's another $150 a month, and now I'm paying another $300 in this tax, another $150 here, another $150 there. Next thing you know, that $2,000-$3,000 that you try to save to go on vacation is now gone. Is now gone.
Gone.
Okay? I mean, you were going to Lake George for a week, with the missus and the 2 little kiddies there. Right. Right? And now, you're going to Jellystone. That's what's happening.
Well, but maybe that's part of the plan of the legislature is that we'll make White Lake the destination for people from
that's not
Liberty.
True either, because as we discussed, year over year, so they're going to give the SCVA more money.
Right.
Okay. Right. Keep in mind, it's 4 times the amount they had, 5 years ago.
Right.
Okay. And we increased year over year. Well, the net gain or loss of jobs year over year in the hospitality industry went down by $100, by 100 people. So how is that even possible?
Sure. Well, it's not possible. So to bring this discussion full circle, legislature, by all indications, will pass this budget today because if they don't, they've got other problems.
Oh, they have major problems.
What happens?
This is the latest I've ever even heard of it, by the way.
Correct. So what should the people of Sullivan County expect to happen? Hey, they pass it in December, but they've got to implement it starting in January. What should we expect to happen in May, June, July with this budget that's built on a number of false assumptions?
Well, as they go through the months and they start seeing less and less money coming in, at some point they have to make a decision.
Use fund balance.
They either use fund balance or start borrowing more money.
Right.
Which, Brian McPhillips says is perfectly fine. Right? And that's why Liberty is the highest tax place in the state of New York.
And now he's doing for the county what he did for Liberty.
When I left the county, okay, when I lost the election and left, we were named one of 3 counties in the state of New York, okay, only non-MTA county that had zero fiscal stress.
Correct.
Zero. Then they went on my budget with my savings and my everything,
24.
okay, right? And then they achieved that goal. They achieved the highest honor again, okay? Well, next September, when we're sitting here, we're going to see how that goes.
We'll see how that goes.
Okay? Because I'm going to tell you right now, it's going to be a train wreck mess.
So what happens is we pass a budget based on false assumptions, not based on good assumptions, but then something like COVID happens, and you're kind of stuck with what you got.
Let's get something straight with COVID. So we didn't get the COVID money until well after COVID. Okay?
No, but so the budget passes for, that would be 2020, and our revenues are affected.
And by the way, we didn't break the cap.
No, we did not.
Okay, we
didn't borrow.
Okay. Nancy had it all set up for us to borrow, and I've said many times in the legislature, we are not borrowing a dime, and we are not. We are. I said this. How many times did I say this, Mike? Where I
over
said,
and over.
No one's coming to save us.
Right.
We have to make decisions to save ourselves.
We got to figure
now.
out how to paddle.
Okay, and that's what we did. Okay, and there were people who were on the legislature before me that were like, "Oh, I don't know about this, Rob. This is what we do." I said, I don't want to hear what you used to do. This is what we're doing. And that put the county in the best financial shape it's ever been in, which should have sparked huge amounts of growth in this county.
Right.
Okay, there should have been huge economic development in this county. And there was during my term.
Right.
And then it started petering out going into the new term. Again, Matty Nyseg runs a committee. Oh, and by the way, runs a committee in 21 months, has put up 14 resolutions. 12 of those meetings have had 0 resolutions. Do you know the other McPhillips, Brian McPhillips, his cousin, is in charge of management and budget. So, you have these 2 McPhillips absolutely destroying our county financially speaking.
Yep.
But they're both doing well, so not to worry.
They're doing fine.
They're both doing very well.
Nothing to see here, folks.
Nothing to see here, folks. Don't worry about me. I'm in good shape. You keep swimming. Don't worry. I'll give you numbers to HEAP. I'll give you numbers to the other stuff. I know you're not going to make it, but, we're going to try our best.
We're going to do
people.
what we can.
I don't know how, as a senior living on a fixed income, you could live here anymore.
Well, you can't.
I just don't know how.
You absolutely cannot. So the tax levy will come out. That'll be a fixed amount of money.
It'll be $81 million and change.
Fixed amount of money that's based on the. Now, your last budget was $79 million.
No. We did our last. So our last budget was $78 million. Was a sales tax,
right?
And I believe it was $74 million. So it's gone up $7 million.
It's gone up $7 million in 2 years.
2 years,
which is it's over 10%.
Correct.
So they.
Oh no! You don't understand, Mike.
Right. Yeah.
No. Because we're not talking hard dollars. If you want to talk percents, I don't know why you're talking percents because you're getting confused to people.
Right.
The bottom line is you are paying if you own a home in this county. Okay. You are going to pay, I don't know, there's a home worth less than $200,000 in this county, okay? You're paying anywhere from $300 to $600 more in county taxes. This year.
Well, if you're in the Village of Liberty, you'll be looking at about a 30% tax increase. 18% the village, 9% from the county, is 27, and 4 or 5% in the town, it gives you a 30% tax increase in 1 year.
In hard dollars, if you have a home in the village,
Yep.
and let's say it's worth, what's the average home worth in the village? Let's say
$250,000. 200,000.
Let's say 200,000 to make it easy, okay? You're looking at spending, okay, 30% more. That's
Right.
$600
More.
in taxes,
Yeah.
okay?
Yeah.
My nephew bought my mother-in-law's house, okay? And he has a good job and all that. But his taxes in 5 years, okay, went from $4,700 to $8,000.
Yeah. It doubled.
Doubled.
They doubled
Doubled.
in 4 years.
I mean, it's the difference of him, so his wife drives a new car, and now he cannot drive a new car because he has to pay a tax bill.
Correct.
Right? And so he's like, the mortgage isn't the problem. It's the taxes that are killing me.
And then, when you talk about affordable housing and you talk about keeping our young people here, one of my 3 young people are here, but that's because he gets housing at a reduced rate through his employer. When that employment stops, he couldn't stay here. My other 2 and 2 of your 3, and one of your 3 gets subsidized housing through the family, which is great. But the other 2, so between the 2 of us, we have 6 young people that are hardworking, the kind of people that would be the next generation here in the county. But 4 of the 6 of them have had to leave the county.
Correct.
So because of the opportunities.
So one of the other things that this crew ran on is affordable housing. So I had put $2 million.
Affordable housing for who? Affordable housing for people that are going to be. I was raised by Christians, so we certainly want to take care of the people that are less fortunate. But affordable housing is not just for the people that are getting benefits.
It's not free housing.
It's not free housing. Affordable housing means when you've got a young engineer who may want to come and take a job with the county and they're going to make $100,000 a year, there's no place for them to live. What about the affordable housing for them, the people that are going to be the next generation? You can't have economic development without a workforce.
Correct, and we saw that in our last year where the school, between the top flight people, right. who are administrative assistants, right? We were stealing each other's.
We were pirates.
BOCES was stealing from us. We were stealing from them. The school districts were stealing from
all we
both
could
of
do.
us.
We could just recircle us because we couldn't bring new people in.
Correct. What happened, Bob DeFore told us that 3 of the people he had hired took the job, tried to find the place, and they turned the job down because they couldn't find a place to live.
Well, and the young man that I hired that came out of Syracuse, he wound up living in New Jersey.
Correct.
So he couldn't find any place around here.
Correct.
He just couldn't.
Correct. So now they're talking about affordable housing. So I had put $2 million into a fund, right? They've taken that money out, just like they did with the environmental money, and now they put it into the general fund, right? So now that money's just going to go. They're going to spend that money, and any hope of affordable housing through the legislature is over.
But how about making housing affordable by controlling the tax burden on people? I mean, my wife and I worked hard. I worked hard so I don't have a mortgage, and yet I pay more in taxes than my mortgage was.
Correct.
It's crazy.
Oh, it's insane.
Yeah.
So I own 4 houses, and my tax burden is ridiculous.
Yeah.
And one of the homes I'm giving to my son
and daughter-in-law.
part of the routine.
Right.
So and it's sad that we have to do it that way because of the taxes.
But that's how you keep your son here.
I mean, I can't give him. I can't give him the house.
Right.
Right. He has to. It has to be a trust situation.
Right.
Otherwise, they tax the hell out of you.
Correct.
He couldn't afford the home.
He couldn't afford the home.
Yeah.
He'd pay income tax on that.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah,
It's crazy.
It's crazy. So, there's catchwords that people use in campaigns. We need more affordable housing, and then they get in office and they proceed to make housing unaffordable for everybody.
This legislature ran on transparency, affordable housing, and civility.
Right.
They have achieved none of those goals. Zero of those goals. They have fights in the legislature about pen tapping.
Right.
Like screaming matches about pen tapping. Okay. And we all know, we all have our inner child.
Right.
If someone you don't like complains about pen tapping, come on. That thing's going to go on all day, all night.
The high school comes out in all of us.
And
the only thing that they've really taken up in terms of affordable housing is to build another homeless shelter.
Well,
to put us in another business we don't belong in.
And that failed.
And it failed.
And they couldn't even achieve that goal.
Right.
They have achieved none of their goals.
Right.
They have 2 years left.
Yep.
They have 8 contracts to settle.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Where are we going here, folks?
So we have 8 contracts to settle, and we've got county employees that are driving to work, so we don't want anybody going off the road. But we had 8 contracts to settle with no margin to create any incentives to not just throw money at it, but to make the jobs more appealing.
Correct.
Which was your big deal. We've got to make these jobs, and particularly you were looking at the CSEA, and those are our correction officers, we've got to make them see this as a career path for them, so they will stay 20 years, and then they can retire, and they can have health insurance in retirement.
Now remember, one of the things that we negotiated was the correction officers did not have health insurance in retirement.
Correct.
Did not. Okay.
So they couldn't retire.
Okay. Not only did we cut down the steps, give them very good raises, we gave them health insurance in retirement, right? While we were paying off 6.5%, $6.5 million a year in bonds that came before us, putting away $18 million a year. Okay, we did all this in 4 years. Okay, what are these people doing? It is a boon. Keep in mind the $5.3 million for the nursing home that they had to have back.
Right.
Okay, is not budgeted anywhere.
So that's going to be additional strain on the fund balance.
There's only $13 million left.
Or we got another $13 million we can screw around with.
So they have the $34.2 million of the 2 months of money put away, right? They are talking about spending that money.
Right.
Okay.
And going back into the high interest short-term loans.
Okay. They are about to set this county up in the next year or two. Okay. Like, I remember when I ran for office, they were talking about, some people run, for 4 years on even years, and some people doing all that. And at the time, I was like, that's crazy to me. That's just crazy because you don't build continuity.
Right.
But what does it show you? So now it gets you thinking. If these guys are in for 4 years, and they're just a wrecking crew to your financial situation in this county, as a county resident, these people are a wrecking crew. Okay?
And they've only really had 1 year to impose their mismanagement on the backs of the county taxpayers.
In 1 year.
Just 1 year, because the first year, that's a skating year because you're working off the other budget.
Great. And now that, I was talking to people inside the county in financial positions in the county, and they're like, this is going to take a decade to fix. A decade, or a group of people that get in there, like when I got in there with Brooks and Conklin and that crew, and, we truly understand the problem,
right?
Okay, not just people show up and raise their hands. Truly understand the problem, right? Now, understand that we were gotten after by some folks, but the bottom line is, we set this county up, because you have to remember the crew before us overspent their revenues 4 years in a row,
and it's basically the same leadership crew that's there now.
If you're shocked by what's happening right now, you just don't understand history.
Those who ignore history are doomed to repeat it.
And here we are.
Repeating it.
It's actually worse.
And
they're starting off with more money.
Right.
And it's worse. That's how crazy this is.
Yeah. Yeah. So they'll vote today at 10:30, and then we will see what unfolds. Coming up in the weeks ahead, we will do our annual report card on the legislature and see how they have done. We'll try to take a very objective view of what their goals were for 2025 and what their achievements were, and we'll probably get a lot of opportunity to look at the excuses that they gave us to cover up their own mismanagement.
Well, I mean, they said none of this is our fault. That's what they've said.
Yeah, and it's remarkable to me because the definition of a leader is the buck stops here.
There are no leaders. There's only politicians.
That's what you've got.
And that's the difference.
Because politicians know how to get elected.
Correct.
Leaders know how to lead.
Correct.
But if you don't get elected, you don't have the opportunity to lead.
And that's the problem.
And that's the problem. And that's the problem with politics across the country.
Correct.
But here in Sullivan County, it's a problem that is going to be shouldered by the relative few. We're a small county.
We are a very small county.
So we'll keep an eye on that as we keep an eye on Sullivan. For the chairman, Rob Doherty, this is Mike McGuire reminding you to be sure to go on and leave us a comment. Last week we got a comment about Rob's hat, and today he is topless. So
no, I have somewhere to go.
He's got someplace to go today. So, but leave us a comment. Be sure to share a link. Get some discussion going. Facebook is not the only platform. We use Eye on Sullivan to try to spur some conversation in the county. And if you're watching us on YouTube, be sure to
smash
that like button. And let's subscribe. Let's get the subscriptions up for 2026 so that we can get some live interaction. We certainly look forward to some additional guests as we ring in 2026. And Rob, this will be our last show before Christmas.
Yeah, I believe you're going to the warmer weather.
I am going to go down, try to fix the Miami Dolphins, or at least enjoy some warm weather.
Well, they are no longer a playoff team.
They are no longer a playoff team, thank God. And now the objective is, can they climb in the draft standings?
That is your goal.
And Quinn Ewers is going to take over at quarterback. He was a projected first-round pick who got hurt in college, so we'll see where
he also had
they're
Archie
at.
Manning behind him.
That's right.
Yeah.
And that.
He had Manning behind him.
He had Manning behind him, yeah. So on behalf of the chairman, Rob Doherty, on behalf of everyone here at Eye on Sullivan, we wish you a very happy and merry and safe holiday season. Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Happy Kwanzaa, Happy Festivus for those who are observing. We've got lots of grievances that we can air, and we'll try to keep an eye on Sullivan for you. So again, for the chairman, Rob Doherty, this is Mike McGuire wishing you again a happy holiday. We'll be back next week with another edition of Eye on Sullivan.